Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard. Thank you so much for tuning in to African Diaspora News Channel. We're so pleased that you're with us today. If you would, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and share the broadcast. This is how you utilizing some of the platform's algorithms, it notifies others that we are here. And how many of you all know oftentimes, for many reasons, in many ways, sometimes our content is not often seen or known. So when you intentionally share it, you help us to break through at least some of those barriers. More importantly, by you supporting our app. Yes, you heard that right. African Diaspora News Channel, we have our own app. You help to expand our voice and to move us beyond the limitations of certain platforms and essentially supporting our own. Beloved, the information should be attached on the screen, should be displayed on the screen now. Be sure to download it, beloved. It's very affordable. You want to tell everybody you know about it, and you will help us expand our voice, especially those like us who are the counter voice to the oppressive classist media apparatus. And we are those who speak on issues that are important to you. Thank you so very much, family. Hopefully, some of you all got a chance to watch my broadcast. Uh, I think it was about a month or so ago. I don't remember when it actually aired, but anyway, I did a broadcast about a month or so ago on airing some of the dirty little secrets of Hillary Clinton's connection to Haiti, also known as Haiti. Now, certainly, you all know that Haiti has been in the news a lot lately. We see how the UN, the United States in particular, is pushing uh, this narrative once again, gang banging narrative, violence narrative, basically trying to say that Haiti is out of control, is uncontrollable in order to justify the presence of the West. And you all know that some of us here have been giving President Ruto of Kenya that everlasting work for putting together about 1,000 or so or more soldiers, security, Black Kenyan security to go into Haiti. Of course, my understanding based on some of my research is that those Kenyan soldiers do not speak the language of the people. They're French or some of their other dialects or and so forth. So what are they doing there? And how the United States is literally spending hundreds of billions of dollars to support and to help pay Kenya. We know that there was a bit of a snag and a delay with the Kenyan court there that objected to such things. But we're seeing too many suspicious things that's going on with President Ruto. They're working with the West. Some other things, if you've watched my coverage, my geopolitical coverage over time, you know that I talked about him and his suspicious connections to the EU when he signed and renewed their new trade agreement. But one of the things that he did before signing such was first come out in support of Ukraine. Lord have mercy. Talk black to me, somebody, and doing some other suspicious things. So we're going to continue to call him out amongst many other things. Well, nevertheless, I wanted to essentially do a part two. It's so much. And of course, I broadcast here mostly are pretty concise, but I wanted to at least give you a little bit more information about how the Clintons, both Bill and Hillary Clinton, and their, by extension, the Clinton Foundation, have been treating Haiti as their own personal cash cow, as one of the well-known Black researchers and scholars have claimed in his renowned book, Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity. I have discussed this book for many years on multiple platforms, for several years on multiple platforms. On page 46 of this book, it does a good job to supplement what I have been talking about in other research that I have done outside of this particular book. Research that I've done on Haiti years prior to me even getting this book. Well, again, hopefully, right here on African Diaspora News Channel, be sure to put in my name. Be sure to put in the title, Hillary Clinton's Dirty Little Secrets Related to Haiti. Just put that in, it'll pop right up. Well, I'm discussing a beautiful brother by the name of Desire Jules, who essentially I'm considering to be a whistleblower because he exposes information in a particular environment that the average person or citizen there we don't hear from, and information that doesn't tend to make it to us. Well, he is with a powerful activist organization that's known as the National Movement for Liberty and Equality of Haitians for Fraternity. He did such a beautiful job in this particular interview. And so again, that was so rich, but I had to highlight the Hillary Clinton in particular. He didn't give the history in that particular interview. This was a history that I was already familiar with when I told you about how Bush 1 removed the democratically elected former President Aristide from office. Clinton came in, and remember I told you when Clinton got in office after Bush 1 removed former President President Aristide, Clinton put him back in office, but with the stipulation of changes to rice tariffs, which put their country in an economic catastrophe and allowed other nations, including the Clintons and the United States, to fleece the Haitian people. The third president of that trio that came in was Bush 2. When he got into office, he also removed former President Aristide, and the CIA was involved and also basically told him to get on the plane, didn't tell him where he was going, and threatened to unalive him if he did not comply, and subsequently dropped him off in exile in Africa at that particular time. Well, I want to just give you a little bit of background about why this Black scholar has claimed and basically labeled the Clintons as using Haiti as their personal cash cow. Now, it is very clear based on evidence and some of the information. I'm going to briefly talk about some of it because, like I said, it's so rich. But basically how they supported Black on Black terrorism. You heard that right. So, first of all, Bill Clinton, just so you know a little bit of background, Bill Clinton, when he was campaigning, called out former President Bush for his anti-Black, anti-Haitian immigration stance, where he was, whenever the Haitians would try to flee terrorism in their country, Bush would send them back. Of course, they weren't doing that to white and Hispanic and other migrants that were making their way to the United States. Nobody ever does that for the lighter skinned migrants. They mostly do it to the Haitians and the Black diaspora. Yes? Well, keep that in mind. Where he betrayed and double-crossed them once he got into office, he still was shipping the Haitians back. But what most don't understand is that some of the Haitians that were fleeing sexual assault to some of their women, multiple unalivings, violence, and a bunch of other stuff, because the Clinton administration was actually supporting the terrorism there. Talk black to me, somebody. In my previous broadcast about revealing Hillary Clinton's dirty little secrets in Haiti, again, be sure to just put that in the search engine here and pull it up and watch that and share it. One of the things that we discussed within the context of that, of course, was the rice tariff issue and how her husband negotiated this, right? Well, I also discussed the fact that some of the Haitians that they claimed was responsible for the violence during the time of Aristide that they claimed, actually they were taking a faction of Haitians there, driving weapons into their hands. And when they started to do research, they traced the weapons and found many of them was coming from the United States by the CIA. That's the reason why I alluded to that in the first broadcast, right? That the Haitians weren't making or developing, neither could they afford the weapons. Well, I want to tell you here, give you a little bit of information that and now from page 46, I know I'm talking to intelligent Black people. Yes, I need your patience because I need to give you this bit of information so that you have the necessary context to what's really going on and what they don't want you to know. Well, it's important to know that the New York Times reported, and I'm quoting, the leader of one of Haiti's most infamous paramilitary groups was a paid informer of the Central Intelligence Agency for 2 years and was receiving money from the United States while his associates committed political murders and other acts of repression, government officials said today. Emmanuel Toto Constant, the head of the organization known as FRAP, F-R-A-P-H, which I might be mispronouncing with my Mississippi accent, was on the CIA's payroll in October of 1993. Are you listening? When his group organized a violent demonstration that prevented the docking of the Navy ship Harlan County, the official said it was not clear why the payments to Mr. Constant continued. after his group had played the leading role in temporarily derailing the Clinton administration's policy toward Haiti. Was on CIA payroll. It says here now, but it is in fact clear why the payments continued. The Clinton administration was publicly supportive of the Democratic presidency of Aristide. Publicly. Remember, I told you about that earlier, right? And the wishes of the Haitian people. In fact, he called the invasion Operation Uphold Democracy. It covertly, though, supported the opposition and worked to literally crush the populist wishes of the people. What was Clinton's strategic interest in supporting the right-wing terrorist opposition? Toto Constance himself informs us that the U.S. Defense Attaché in Haiti, Colonel Patrick Collins, I'm giving y'all names and receipts, instructed him to oppose the populist majority in order to, quote, balance the Aristide movement, to counter and quell the populism in particular, and to put Aristide in a weakened position when he returned to power. Remember, I told you he returned to power under Clinton, right? First Bush one put him out. Clinton negotiated, brought him back in, but fleeced the country. And then when Clinton left, Bush 2 came in and kicked him out again under threat of being unalived. Watch this. It goes on. By supporting FRAPH, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but the acronym is FRAPH. The U.S. increased its bargaining power in negotiations with President Aristide. The Clinton administration was pressuring Aristide to reject the original populist plan of wealth distribution. 20% of the Haitian household accounted for 64% of the country's total income, and to accept the IMF World Bank austerity and privatization program that would benefit the country's elite and foreign investors, but ruin the masses economically. The Clinton administration purposely fomented violent discord in the country, by supporting the terrorist opposition in order to ensure that President Aristide was compliant once he got back in office. There's much more I could talk about here, family. Bear with me as I give you this other information. Again, I know I'm talking to intelligent Black people, and I want you to replay this and play this for your children, colleges, universities, wherever you find yourself, your social groups, because this is important for us to know. And you know mainstream media isn't talking about this. The economic aspects of Clinton's Haiti policy have literally starved the people. Rice accounted for 23% of the people's caloric intake, and almost all of the rice was grown locally. Remember I talked about the rice tariffs? Now, this is research I had done years prior to me getting this book a few years ago. Keep listening. Prior to the Clinton administration's intervention, Haiti was growing economically. Are y'all listening? In the 1970s, only 19% of the food was imported. The country was self-sufficient and maybe on the road to becoming the, quote, Taiwan of the Caribbean. Bill Clinton's economic policy destroyed that possibility. The IMF, World Bank, quote unquote, restructuring program that the administration imposed on President Aristide required the lowering of import tariffs from 50% to 3%. Remember in the last broadcast, I specifically mentioned the rice tariffs, right? Well, I wanted to give you specifics. Look at those large percentages from 50% to 3%. Clinton then gave hundreds of millions of dollars in farm subsidies to who? American rice farmers. This is why we have to know what's going on in the world, because of its interconnectivity, economically, politically, and otherwise, to this country. What did I just say? I said Bill Clinton gave hundreds of millions of dollars in farm subsidies to American rice farmers, primarily his hometown pals, producers, rice mill, and rice land. Where are they located? 2 Arkansas-based producers. How many of you all know that's where Bill Clinton is from? How many of you all know that he was governor there before he became president of the United States? Y'all see how dirty this is? Most people would never know the connection between Arkansas and Haiti. The policy allowed the Clintons' Arkansas pals to flood Haiti with cheap rice, driving the local farmers out of business and into the slums of Port-au-Prince. After the destruction of the rice market, the American rice producers raised the price on their rice double. This sparked, quote, rice riots. And to be honest with y'all, even Jesse Jackson at that time called out the United States on their rice policies that were fleecing the folks. The Clinton and IMF World Bank policy of dropping tariffs is known locally in Creole as a plan LAMO. Somebody put the right pronunciation in the chat for me. Hopefully I'll see the comments later. I don't always get to read all the comments, but I know some of our people would love to see what you have to say about it. Plan LAMO, which they say means in Creole, quote, death plan. Even Bill Clinton would later admit that his policy was, quote, a devil's bargain. Bill Clinton literally called it a devil's bargain. But how many of you all know that's not all? There are many more pages, but I got to break this down. How many of you all know years later, Hillary Clinton ran for president? She lost, didn't win, right? But when Obama won, what did Obama do? He put Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, right? Guess what? The disastrous fleecing of Haiti continued under Secretary Hillary Clinton. So even when she worked under someone else's administration, she continued these sneaky little policies as Secretary of State. And for those of you that don't know, Secretary of State is like being the top diplomat and being over all of the global diplomats around the world. And Secretary of State is one of the top positions that you could ever be in under presidency. If something were to happen to the president and the president couldn't fulfill his job, the vice president would come in. And if the vice president couldn't fulfill his job, I think it's either the Secretary of State or one of the House leaders that would have to take position. So it's one of the top 3 or 4 that would actually have to run these United States of America if something happened to the president or vice president. Watch this. As Secretary, Hillary Clinton claimed Haiti as a pet project. It goes on to say here, and in case there was any confusion regarding the State Department's Haitian policy was really all about, not long after Hillary was confirmed as Secretary of State, the UN Secretary, how many of y'all remember Ban Ki-moon? He deputized Bill Clinton as a special envoy to Haiti. As U.S. envoy, Bill Clinton was to spearhead the development of the Haitian hunger crisis, a crisis which his own, quote unquote, devil's bargain caused. It's so much more. But just so you know, you can research this yourself. Bill Clinton, Dirty Little Hands, was involved in a Marriott hotel scheme, some would call it, allegedly scheme. Deal, let's just call it a deal. And there were some other things as it relates to business deals that he was involved in there, right? As well as them being indifferent to the Haitian minimum wage. Bill Clinton had a lot to do with driving down that minimum wage in Haiti. But I want to tell you this part that I think is most interesting. As UN envoy, I'm skipping, Bill Clinton was tapped to lead the recovery effort in Haiti. Y'all remember that tragedy of the earthquake, right? He co-chaired the Haitian Prime Minister, Jean-Max Bellerive, I know I'm mispronouncing that, the Interim Haiti Recovery Commission, which is the IHRC, charged with rebuilding Haiti and directing the spending. Are y'all ready for this? With the Clintons in control of the rebuilding effort in Haiti, we're not surprised to discover that the Clinton Foundation controlled 36 million, watch this, of Haiti's money in 2010. The Clinton Bush Haiti Fund controlled 55 million. That ain't all. The Clinton Global Initiative Haiti Action Network, 500 million. That alone, the 500 million, that's a $500 million. Another 36 million, another 55 million in one form or another. Are y'all listening? Guess what? They said we're hard pressed to find any good that most of that money did. The 2013 Government Accountability Office investigated, found that most of the money for the recovery was not being dispersed. Haitians find themselves, this is a quote, Haitians find themselves in a social and economic situation that is worse than before the earthquake, says Grael Trioun. And as Catton also notes, y'all ready for this? And I'm almost done. 5 years after the hemisphere's deadly single natural disaster, when both Clintons assumed the leading roles in the rebuilding efforts, little progress has been made on many core problems in Haiti. And the government that Hillary Clinton helped put in power in Haiti during the January 2011 trip that both Clintons have backed strongly since has proven itself unworthy of the trust. Far from transforming the poorest of countries, many of the Clintons' grandest plans and promises remain little more than small pilot projects. A new set of basketball hoops and a model elementary school here, a functioning factory there that have done little to alter radically the trajectory of the country. That's a quote. And finally, in Haiti, 16.3 billion, guess, that's how much was raised. In addition to those hundreds of millions of dollars that I talked about that the Clintons themselves, in one way or another, directly or indirectly, was involved in, whose name was on or control, right? In Haiti, 16.3 billion, billions of dollars around the world that was raised, gets you little more than the basketball court if the Clintons are in control of that money. This is what the author says. As Nathan Robinson of the Current Affairs states, what did Nathan Robinson say of Current Affairs? Quote, a large amount of the money raised by Bill Clinton after the earthquake and pledged by the U.S. under Hillary Clinton simply disappeared without a trace. Its whereabouts unknown. End quote. Now you see why this Black researcher suggests that Haiti, the entire country, served as Bill and Hillary Clinton's little cash cow. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. It's important to understand the inner workings of these things, because when mainstream news only shows you this man named Barbecue and so-called gangbanging in their country, and then they see in black-faced soldiers, Kenyans, to do the security, they're trying to cover up for white supremacy, fleecing the resources. I got another part to this as well. I can't wait for you to check that out. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Be sure to check out my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKI Planet.com. I can't wait to see you again.